Russia, which initially used the blitzkrieg strategy and planned to quickly capture Ukraine, suffered huge losses after a year of war. The average rate of Russian soldiers killed per month is at least 25 times the number killed per month in Chechnya and 35 times the number killed in Afghanistan, which highlight the stark realities of a war of attrition. Such data is published by the Center for Strategic and International Studies.
Before its invasion in February 2022, Russia had nearly 5 times as many military personnel as Ukraine, a defense budget 11 times larger, an economy almost 8 times larger, and significantly better military capabilities. Yet Russia's preponderance of power has failed to deliver its swift victory on the battlefield. From an analytic report by the Center for Strategic and International Studies.
Since the beginning of the aggressive war, Russia has lost almost half of its modern T-72 main battle tanks and about two-thirds of its T-80 tanks. In total, more than 900 tanks of various modifications. Taking into account armored personnel carriers, MLRS, aircraft and other military equipment, the losses of the Russian army amounted to about 10,000 units. Russia suffered the largest human losses in the battles for Bakhmut.
We inflict enormous losses on our enemy, and so, with this heroic struggle, the defenders of the Bakhmut front are bleeding the enemy out, weakening it, preparing a foothold for the reserves that will then come in and throw enemy out of our territory. Serhiy Cherevati, speaker of the Eastern Group of Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, in an interview with CNN. Now Bakhmut has become a fortress, and I would like Russians to suffer a crushing defeat on this fortress.
According to the New York Times, during the unsuccessful 3-week assault on Vuhledar, the Russian invaders lost more than 130 tanks and armored personnel carriers, and the fields are literally littered with their killed soldiers and burnt equipment. Mobilized men from Serpukhov posted an appeal on social networks in which they said that they were suffering heavy losses in Ukraine.
We were thrown to storm the concrete fortified area of the armed forces of Ukraine, having small arms and shovels with us. As a result, it became a massacre for us. We suffered casualties and killed and wounded. We were not prepared for the assault.
Forbes journalist calculated that Russia spent almost $115 billion on the war against Ukraine in a year. This is almost $10 billion a month, which is one-third of all Russian budget revenues for 2021. This money could be spent on improving the lives of the Russians themselves. Instead, the Kremlin decided to wage a war of attrition on its army.
Amid the military success of the armed forces of Ukraine, mass desertion is noted in the enemy troops. With this in mind, Russian deputy commanders for political work are actively carrying out explanatory work to prevent desertion among Russian military personnel.
Officials in the United States and Western countries estimate the loss of the Russian army in Ukraine in wounded and killed at about 200,000 people. According to the Ukrainian General Staff, Russia has already lost 150,000 people killed alone. That's more than 10,000 for every month of the war. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Natalia Husak, Volodymyr Штангелов, UATV News.